So if you happen to go to the section 32B and 32C, it tells very clearly that how we need to go forward and look into this insurance altogether. The insurance has been made in such a way that a specified of 2% of the gross premium has been taken for the first year. They are also very important. The livestock business are also very important because that also generates a significant amount of income for the rural household. Good morning and welcome to the third session in Unit 3 in Principles and Practice of General Insurance, where we are going to talk about the rural insurance cover. Now, this is very important. Why? Because the Indian law states that insurance companies should be accommodative of persons in the rural sector or the social sectors and persons in the economically vulnerable or backward classes of the society. We all know that 70% of India's population lives in the rural side. So it is very important for all the insurance companies to cover the people, the farmers who live in this area. Why? Because primarily they do not have much of income and they also are short of the coverages in terms of any emergencies or exigencies that come to them. So it is very important that though it is an informal sector, though it is an unorganized sector, the insurance companies should make a deliberate effort in terms of covering up the rural sector and try to provide them the maximum coverage and benefit. Now, in the Act of the IRDA, that is IRDA 1938 Act, sections 32B and 32C is where the particular law can be found. So it has been told very clearly by the Insurance Development Regulatory Authority of India that insurance cover should also be provided to the people in the rural sector and they should be given maximum coverage. So if you happen to go to the section 32B and 32C, it tells very clearly that how we need to go forward and look into this insurance altogether. Followed by the rural insurance, it defines the percentage of business that the insurance companies are expected to put aside for the persons in the category mentioned above, that is in the rural area. Further, the IRDA has tried to accommodate two sections compulsorily into that factors where they support the rural sector. The one is the agriculture and the other one is the poultry and the small scale industries altogether. Now, this is one primary area where we have tried to identify the rural insurance business. Why? Because we have been trying to understand that the farmers in India do not have a backup plan at all. Many times when they come to the agriculture sector, you will be amazed to find this factor that if the crops fail or if the farmer gets affected because of rain, landslide or any other natural calamity, there is nobody to come back and give him some assurance altogether. So in that case, in that scenario, we always need to go back, understand this factor that we need to help the farmer, we need to get him back at any cost, at any given condition. So that is why rural insurance cover becomes a mandatory topic today for most of the insurance companies to cover. Secondly, when we start thinking about this, we also need to understand there are several small-scale businesses altogether. That includes the medium, small-scale industries, cottage industries, poultries, where we talk about horticulture business also. We also talk about floriculture. All these kind of businesses need to be covered by the insurance company. So the IRDA has taken an initiative with the general insurance companies to come forward and cover up these businesses, which will actually make a great sense to the farmers and the rural people. Now, The rural insurance also says that this compulsory sections have to be covered, and these sections have been mentioned very clearly that whenever there is a possibility, you need to take it forward and you need to guide the people. Now, the next thing that we are going to say that they have been specified with a minimum of 2% of the total gross premium during the first financial year and a minimum of 3% of the gross premium in the second financial year and a minimum of 5% of the gross premium in the third year and additional financial years. The plan must include insurance for the crops also. Now, if you look through this particular session slide, you will be able to see that the insurance has been made in such a way that a specified of 2% of the gross premium has been taken for the first year. So what they typically try to do is that slowly increase the premium value over a period of time. So the first year the premium is less as 2%, then it becomes 3%, then it slowly goes up to 5% by the third year. So what we are trying to do is that we don't want to tax the farmers to a very great extent. We don't want to take them for a ride. We want to give them a slow and a beneficial process altogether by which these people will also have the maximum benefit. So what we are seeing here is that in the financial year of that particular production of crops, we see the premium to be under a minute level, under a minimum level as far as possible. And if there is going to be any damage to the crops at any given point of time, the crops have to be taken care of. Insurance has to be given at any point of time. So this means to say that the insurance coverage should include all the parameters that have been spoken about. Now, many a times what happens here is that the insurance coverage is being spoken only for, let's say, about the farmer and the land and not about the crops, because the types of crops that are being grown in India keep differing from one area to the other. So based on the types of crops, the kharif crops or the rabi crops altogether, there are types of insurance which have been designed to keep this market even more stronger. Followed by the main objective of this program, why the rural insurance scheme is coming, is that to make sure rural families involved are provided with working capital and assistance in general to keep forward their business. Now, it becomes very important that whenever we talk about the rural India, the one thing that always comes into mind is the importance of capital and the infusion of capital required at many times. Though the farmer is being provided with schemes from the bank and the non-banking financial institutions, but still the farmer is always in need of the capital, and many a times if he goes to the bank and asks for the capital, he might not get it. He might not get the required installments. He might not get the required payments altogether. So it becomes quite obvious for the person to go back and claim, saying that if I could get some additional capital, additional interest, additional factors through which he will be able to generate some income, and that's where we go in for this rural insurance scheme. So we bring in some additional benefit, regular payment methods, regular income for the farmer, plus we also add upon subsidies altogether whenever it is possible, so that you will be able to help the farmer, you will be able to see that they are overcoming the financial difficulties and continuing with the agricultural process. The government of India, when they first started the postal schemes like the Kisan Vikas Patra for the help of the farmers and the rural sector, that was primarily done because the farmer at any time should be guaranteed about the income, and he should not be left alone. He should not be left in a lurch in terms of that particular organization, in terms of the particular business altogether. So the farmer and his family will be definitely protected by the insurance cover. The next thing is that the beneficiaries of the IRDP projects, that is the rural development projects, will be protected with special insurance schemes. The most saddening part of the story when it comes to the rural sector is the suicides that are being committed by the farmers because of the lack of finance, lack of support altogether, by which his entire family has to take the toll. So what we have done in the insurance project schemes for the rural sector is that we not only provide life insurance cover, but we also provide insurance for the crops, insurance for any special occasions, and there are many schemes where the premium covered will be at the lowest, benefits will be at the maximum provided. The policies comes with a reduced rate of insurance, in factor of the premium, and the claims are also made very, very simplified for the farmers so that they will get the insurance claim at the earliest. This is very, very important because as we keep growing further as a country with the rising population, the need for food production has to be given priority. So we need to take care of the farmer's health and his well-being. Then we will be able to make a better and healthy India altogether. Now, moving further, we are going to talk about the rural insurance features and benefit. Now, the features and benefits are like the sub-animals including honeybee, silkworm are also going to be covered. Why? Because we have told that when we are talking about farming and farming related allied work, so when we are talking about silk weaving, or when we are talking about the apiary, or when we are talking about rearing of birds and poultry and factors, they are also very, very important. The livestock business are also very important because that also generates a significant amount of income for the rural household. So you definitely need an insurance package or a coverage altogether that would be able to help them to overcome these challenges. So that's why we go back and we tell very clearly that these kind of insurance will be of a great benefit to them. Followed by the livestock like sheep, cattle, goat, all these animals are going to be covered under the insurance. So in case if they die because of some disease or they die because of some accident, breakout of fire or some other damages happening, they will be covered under the insurance. Property, for example, agriculture, pump set, land, any kind of damages, any kind of emergencies and exigencies are going to be covered here. Plantation and horticultural crops including grapes, rubber trees, coffee, tea plantations, these are very, very important to cover because we know that most of these kind of plantations are available on the hill stations, which means they are subjected to rain, landslide or any kind of land degradation and other factors. So the forces of nature can act upon them, which can bring a severe damage to the planters and to his family. So we need to bring in insurance cover that will be able to cover the plantation and horticulture business altogether. Now, for example, even the gramin accident is going to be covered there, where in case of any accidental death or any kind of injuries that are being caused in the rural sector is also going to be covered under the insurance policy. Followed by, it is found that the cattle has been going through any of the following cost, like for example disease or death or any kind of thing, that is also going to be covered. Now, overloading, willful, malicious injury or neglect or any unskillful treatment, not using the animals for the purpose that has been stated, all those things are not going to be covered under the insurance. So what we are going to see here is that in case if there is going to be any kind of wrong usage of the insurance, where we are going to see that if the cattle is going to be misused or the cattle is going to be ill-treated, the cattle is going to be used for some other purpose than the above stated, then the insurance cover is not going to be provided. Then the companies are really going to take a strong call on this and the insurance will be removed. Followed by deliberate slaughter of the animal. This does not include cases where animal is killed due to incurable suffering, or in which the case must be certified by the veterinary. So suppose the animal is suffering from a severe disease and the veterinarian doctor says that the animal has to be given a mercy killing, then at that point of time we are not going to come into the insurance factor. But then if you are wantedly killing the animal or hurting the animal, then the insurance cover will not be provided. This also include cases where animals slaughtered by the order willfully constituted. Now, when we talk about butchering, when we talk about the meat processing industry, that is a willful order that has been passed. So there the insurance cover applies. But other than that, any kind of harm that has been constituted on the animal, the insurance cover will not be provided. Now, the other thing is that the animal will not be covered if it has contracted a disease that was before the insurance period altogether. Only after the insurance is taken and something happens to the livestock or to the animal, then the insurance policy comes into picture. Anything that has happened before the insurance cover, the cover or the insurance benefit will not be taken. The sale or theft of the insurance animal will not be covered. Risk involved while transportation of the animal by air, sea will not be covered because that is not a part of the insurance. And neuropneumonia, if the insured cattle is in Sibsagar districts of Assam or Lakhimpur, these are certain areas where this particular disease is common. So we are not going to provide insurance in those categories. So when you see the rural insurance factor, we have certain specified documents and specified methods that has to be followed for the insurance package to be activated, or else it will not be covered under the insurance. Followed by the other policies that the rural insurance have been given or provided coverage is the farmers package insurance. We are giving hut insurance, where for small huts for the poor farmers living, Gramin personal accident insurance. So in case of any accident, personal injury or anything will be covered under that. Animal driven cart insurance, because we know that still bullock carts are being used as a transport method in the rural area. So suppose if there is going to be any mishap or incident, yes, the animal driven cart insurance is going to be provided. Cycle rickshaw policy, which is very, very important. Lift irrigation insurance. So while during the irrigation factors, if there are going to be any changes or challenges, that is going to be looked after here. Followed by which failed well insurance. A well that has dried up or the borewell activities have completely gone bad, you are going to get an insurance there. Agricultural pump set policy, which is very, very important for farming, pumping of water. If there is going to be any cause or any damages there, that is going to be covered. Followed by a horticultural plantation insurance scheme, which is going to be covered as a part of it. Honeybee insurance, because the apiary is one of the most important business in the cooperative society. Sericulture business is also going to be looked after there. Aquaculture is also a very, very important business. Poultry insurance, not to forget. Poultry is one of the very big business in India worth several thousand crores, which is also going to be covered under this insurance, and sheep and the goat insurance. Now, these are all the specified sectors which are going to be a part of the rural insurance cover. Now, the claim procedure is something like this. If the insured animal dies, the policy holder must immediately intimate the news to the company. He or she will provide the complete document with the duly claimed form, the death certificate, how the death has happened, the complete data of the incident with the ear tag of the animal, and must also ensure that the value of the animal has been established and required. The post-mortem certificate certified by the veterinarian also has to be provided in this case. So with all this data, with the duly claimed form and everything, has to be presented to the insurance company in order to make the claim. With this, I come to the end of this particular session. I hope and believe that all the information shared here will be of a great help and resource to you. In the upcoming sessions, we shall learn more about the general insurance practices. But until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay enlightened forever. Thank you once again for joining me today on this wonderful session.